back scheme to get guns off our streets and to help to assist to make all Australians safe.
To get guns off the street? How about getting dangerous people off the street? It's everyone else's fault but the fault of radical Islam. 15 innocent people were killed by 2 alleged jihadi sympathisers who police say were motivated by ISIS, and the car they drove to Bondi had an ISIS flag. 24-year-old Naveen Akram allegedly had links to Sydney's Al Medina Dawa Centre, where he was allegedly distributing pamphlets for an Islamic street preaching group to spread the so-called message.
We need to spread the message that Allah is one and Muhammad is the last messenger of Allah. Guys, spread dawah wherever you can. Spread the message that Allah is one wherever you can. Spread the message by pamphlets, whether it be one ayah, and whether it be raining, hailing, or clear sky. Allah will reward you for whatever actions you do in His cause. Inshallah, this will save you on the Day of Judgment.
He also allegedly had links to hate preacher Wissam Haddad, who's been spewing this sort of hate just 30 kilometres away from the scene of the massacre.
Can't take away from the fact, first and foremost, that jihad is definitely part of our deen. And as Muslims, we should never ever shy away from this. And yes, there may be types of jihad, but of the peak of this jihad is that which the Messenger Muhammad ﷺ spoke about, and I'll read the hadith soon. And that is fighting in the path of Allah Azza wa Jal. A physical fight.
But no, cover your ears. Nothing at all to do with religion. This was all, of course, about guns. Gun control will make Jews safe. Gun control will stop the hate being festered. Deny. Deny a key reason why ASIO raised the terror threat level in August last year to probable because of more Australians embracing a range of extremist ideologies and an increased willingness to use violence to advance their political, ideological or religious objectives. But not according to Anthony Albanese.
Radical Islam, in your view, the greatest domestic security threat Australia faces?
Well, the assessments are that that is one of the issues that we're dealing with. But I want to deal with all of the threats, whether it be extremist perversions of Islam leading to support for the ideology promoted by ISIS, whether it be also concerned about the issue of sovereign citizens killing police in Victoria and Queensland. I'm concerned about neo-Nazis.
There he goes again, deflecting into sovereign citizen and right-wing extremism territory. He was then pushed again by Sky News on the matter.
Off the back of Sunday's attack and yesterday's police arrests, how many suspected Islamic extremists are on ASIO's watch list? And considering these events, is radical Islam an enemy from within Australia? Are there too many people here who don't share Australia's values and culture?
Well, when it comes to figures and ASIO's work, I will leave those comments to the Director-General and as to whether they wish to make those matters public. I can say this, that one proponent of support for ISIS motivated by a perversion of Islam that leads to extremism is one too many.
Well, the question is, if it's a so-called perversion of Islam, then what is he going to do about it? He's introduced gun reform, tighter hate speech laws, even though existing laws he put in place have not been acted on, harsher penalties when it comes to online censorship, but no plans to deal with the heart of the issue. And we can't be surprised because he can't even bring himself to utter the words and say it out loud. Is the Prime Minister going to shut down the mosques and centres indoctrinating radical Islam? How will he confront the doctrines that justify violence, like the Sahih Bukhari, which says the hour will not be established until you fight with the Jews, and the stone behind which a Jew will be hiding will say, "O Muslim, there is a Jew hiding behind me, so kill him"? Will Muslim leaders come to the table on this and call it out? If a perversion of Islam has led to the deaths of 15 Australians, then there's a serious responsibility on the part of the Prime Minister and Muslim community to address it. Now, of course, the majority of Muslims live peacefully in Australia and are equally as horrified by what's happened in Bondi. But if parts of the community are allegedly carrying out terrorist acts in the name of Allah, then the conversation starts now about religiously motivated attacks, and it starts with our leaders. After having told us earlier in the week the Bondi massacre was not motivated by religion, the AFP Commissioner ducked and weaved again today when asked about it.
There are groups and individuals across Australia who are eroding the country's social fabric by advocating hatred, fear and humiliation. And I'm not going to mince my words, too much of this is directed at the Jewish community.
Where is the hate coming from, Commissioner? Which group or individual is eroding our social fabric? Name it. Call it out. At least the New South Wales Police Commissioner was willing to say the quiet part out loud.
It is certainly one of our biggest security threats, and we're certainly looking at radical Islamist extremism as one of the ideologies behind these males.
Now, if the discussion about the so-called perversion of Islam is avoided at all times, then how can we possibly work to dismantle it? And quit the Islamophobia cries every time Islam is brought up. 15 people have allegedly been murdered in cold blood due to radical Islam. Just like the Link Cafe siege, the murder of Curtis Cheng, the attack on Bishop Marmari Emmanuel, 9/11, the Bali bombings, the Paris attacks, the London bombings, I could go on and on. But of course nothing at all to do with religion though, right? All to do with guns.